Hooday, Bengal fans. He is Eric. That is our guy, Justin. My man, Mon, up top in three, two, one. There he is. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse. Hooday, Bengal fans. This is the heartbeat of the Cincinnati Bengals, a heartbeat of the Bengals draft that is now technically 3 days away. It is right around the corner, and tonight we have the Bengal Pulse the final mock draft. I will let Eric explain that in just a second. But before we do, guys, before we get into the draft, let's talk some news that just broke about Zach Moss, free agent running back the Bengals brought in last year, a guy that was supposed to come in and really take over that, I guess you would say, that Joe Mixon role in this offense. Never really got going, got injured. We find out today the Bengals have restructured his contract to give him some guaranteed money. So I'm not sure if he is in the plans or not, or if this is just a way for the Bengals medically to get out of his contract situation. I don't know. But, Mom, what are your initial thoughts on Zach Moss coming back under a restructured deal?
The Bengals don't give out free money to anybody, so obviously I think they feel really comfortable with his neck situation. We really didn't get to see the Zach Moss last year that played for the Colts and had a really decent career with. So he's going to come in, and I think it's going to be running back by committee. I do like it because I really think our Bengals are going to do something we've wanted them to do for years and run the ball more. I really expect this team to be committed to the run a little bit more than they have been in the past. That's a good thing. So that's going to help the defense that's going to be developing over the next couple of years.
Justin, what do you think this says about the Bengals? Because obviously a lot of Bengal fans out there in their mock drafts, and we've heard a lot of interest surrounding some of these running backs in the draft with the Cincinnati Bengals. They brought a couple guys in on official visits. Does this change maybe the Bengals' outlook in this draft at drafting a running back sometime during the draft, or do you think that is still in play? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's still in play. Moss is at best a short-term solution. Still think you're looking – this is a deep draft at running back, which is good for the Bengals. And, I think if you have an opportunity, if someone falls into the middle rounds, or if there's a player they like available in rounds 5 or 6, or maybe if they get into the 7th again, I think that's a position they're absolutely going to look for in this draft, regardless of the Moss situation.
And you really got to think, too, the Bengals are looking at this next situation as, Mon, you said possibly feeling comfortable about it. But at the same time, obviously, it's still something that could linger. So, again, maybe this is a situation where the Bengals are still planning on maybe bringing him in for camp and seeing how it goes from there. Obviously, guys, today was the first day of the, I guess you could say, off-season lifting conditioning program. Most Bengals in attendance today. We saw T in attendance, which is a good sign. But obviously, the Bengals start that 2-week off-season lifting program and getting ready, obviously, for the rookies coming in. We also, Eric, we saw a press conference today from Duke Tobin and from Zach Taylor. Both those pressers had a lot to do with Al Golden. Really, both of the guys, and Zach Taylor and Duke Tobin, talked about how much they believe in Al Golden, how this is going to be Al Golden's defense, how Al Golden is going to have a big say in the draft room. It sounds like, Eric, that our thoughts on the Bengals going heavy on defense is probably going to come to fruition, especially with the talk up of Al Golden from Duke Tobin today. What are your thoughts on that, Eric?
I don't know. I I heard it a little bit differently. I heard it that a lot of we're going to lean on Al Golden, and to me, some of that in my head, maybe that's the offensive guy that wants all these offensive linemen out there. To me, I kind of heard it as we believe in Al, even with the guys that we got in the room. So I do think we're going to get him a lot of toys, but I don't think his voice is going to be in the biggest one in the room. One big nugget that came out today that we'll get your guys' thoughts on too is they asked about Dax Hill and they asked about Mike Hilton, and what they basically said was Fig Newton is pretty much going to be slotted into that Mike Hilton replacement, which to me is kind of exciting. I think he could do that role. Maybe Mon, did you have any thoughts on that? Newton playing that role for.
Yeah, I watched him play a lot at TCU because they're in the Big 12 and they played West Virginia a lot. He's a good player, feisty. I mean, I think he's made for that. They talked about it last year when they drafted him. He was potentially could be that nickel slot corner. He's not afraid. He had an up and down rookie season, but he flashed a lot. I'm high on him, and he was very productive at TCU. I mean, that's not Division III football. He's a good player, and I think he has a bright future for the Bengals. I have no problem with it. I trust the coaches on that.
I think I'm a little disappointed in Mike Hilton not sounding like he is not returning to the fold, but it sounded like today that the Bengals felt very confident, guys, in their cornerback room. So I would be surprised if we see corner going early in this Bengals draft. Again, Justin, I want to get your thoughts on this. You watch a ton of college football. They talked a little bit about – they actually used the word the Bengals are Duke Tobin said the Bengals are rebuilding that defense. And why they are looking at Al Golden was obviously a big part of that is him being in the college game last year. What are your thoughts on the Bengals? I mean, again, talking about Al Golden in that draft room, they're going to bounce. It sounded like they were going to run everything through him when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. Do you feel comfortable with that?
I think it's interesting. He's obviously did a great job at Notre Dame. He is a really good coach. I remember I really thought when Miami hired him, and it's been many years now. I thought when Miami hired him, I thought that was going to be a home run for them, and it's kind of interesting how that didn't end up working out for either side. But he's a really detail-oriented coach. I think it was a good hire for Cincinnati. We'll kind of see. Certainly, what he did at Notre Dame was really impressive, and especially considering that Notre Dame traditionally hasn't had kind of the maybe ability to recruit like some other schools because of academic standards and what have you. They have some limitations in the way they work and put a roster together. So I think the fact that he was able to build I would say, if not elite defense, very close to elite defense, speaks volumes to his ability to, help build a roster and identify talent and identify guys that are going to fit his scheme and system. And it only makes sense to have, if not giving coaches, I don't necessarily think coaches need all the say or the biggest voice, but I mean, they do need some input on those decisions. Parcells had the great quote, they want me to cook the meal, but they don't want to let me shop for the ingredients when he left New England. So yeah, I always kind of thought that was a reasonable philosophy.
Yeah, I love it. That's a good point. And I think too, with the Bengals, Duke Tobin talked about today, he basically said, listen, we are going to be drafting Al Golden guys that Al Golden feels like he can put and fix his defense with. He talked about versatile defensive players, guys, defensive linemen that can play the run and pass. not wanting guys that are, third and long type guys. They are looking for the total package. Same at linebacker, same at corner, same at safety. I mean, they talked about how, again, it really sounds like every defensive pick, guys, is going to go through Al Golden, which maybe it should. Maybe that's been part of the problem. And again, we've talked about Lou Anarumo and his lack of developing players. Mon, I want to ask you real quick. He talked a little bit about Trey Hendrickson. Said there's no change yet in the Trey Hendrickson thing, but that we're glad he's on our team, and the same old Duke Tobin stuff. He's one of ours. He's our guy. He's part of a team. Does not sound like they are moving on from Trey Hendrickson. Jermaine Pratt, on the other hand, when Duke Tobin spoke about him, was very vague, and that Jermaine asked for a trade, and we are looking at all options. Do you think Jermaine Pratt gets moved on Thursday night or even on Friday night? Mon, you're muted.
Sorry. Jake, I don't think Jermaine Pratt's marketable. I really don't. He is not going to – I think the writing's on the wall in the NFL. I think every team knows he's not in the Bengals' plans. If anything, we might get a 6th or a 7th. But I think he's going to wind up being a cap casualty. There could be a team out there give us a later round pick because the Bengals have made it perfectly clear. Their linebacker coach didn't even mention him in a big interview on Bengals.com.
Yeah.
Golden doesn't talk about him. I mean, they are, he's not in their plans. He's not a very popular player with his coaching staff. He was productive for the Bengals last year. Maybe a team will give a late round pick, but I would be stunned if that happened.
Yeah, and they love Oren Burks. I mean, Duke Tobin talked up Oren Burks. Burks talked him up quite a bit because, he said, hey, this guy started a bunch of games. He played in the Super Bowl and yada, yada, yada. So maybe Oren is what they're thinking Jermaine Pratt's replacement going to be. All right, guys. Let's get started because we have a lot of mock draft to cover. Eric, I'm going to let you go ahead and explain to our listeners how this is going to work tonight. Again, thank you guys so much for jumping on and listening. We are recording this Monday night to go live tonight, so we will not be able to comment on any of the comments. However, we will try to be in live tomorrow night as the show is played. Eric, you want to explain to the listeners how we are doing this?
Yeah, it's pretty cut and dry. We all, instead of going live tonight, which normally takes our show to about a 90-minute saga, we decided to do our final mock drafts offline. Everybody got to go through as many iterations as they needed to get exactly what they wanted out of their mock draft. So we've all done a separate mock draft. Basically, the way we're going to do it, we're going to do a round table. Each one of us will talk about our first round pick, maybe take a minute to 90 seconds, and then go to the next person. And then if anybody wants to add any color commentary on someone else's picks before we move to the next round, we can do that. So should be pretty good debate here once we see what everybody's picked.
Awesome. And please, guys, make sure you comment in the comment section. Let us know whose picks you like best. Let us know at the end whose draft you like best. Again, just because we aren't live, guys, doesn't mean we don't want you guys comment in the comment section. We will try to reply to as many as we can. All right, Eric, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start this thing off with round 1 of the Bengals Pulse 2025 final mock draft.
Yeah, let's get it kicked off. I'll go ahead and start off with mine. So we'll go me, Justin, and then we'll go Jake and Mon. And then we'll maybe we'll do it like a snake version. We'll go that way, and then we'll reverse it the next way around.
Okay, sounds good.
Get us into some fantasy football talk. So with my first round pick, I've been very adamant that our best option that's going to be out there is going to be a trade back. With my first round pick, I got an offer from the Chargers that I couldn't refuse. They offered the 22nd pick and the 55th pick. So just straight up for our 17th pick. So I jumped on that, picked up that 55th pick, and with the the 22nd pick in the 2025 draft, I took Jahad Campbell. Everybody's favorite out there, and probably on a lot of people's mock drafts. Justin, where'd you go?
I actually went with I believe I traded down as well. Here, let me pull mine up again. So my first pick was sorry. Give me just a second here.
I think you stayed at 17, Justin.
Oh, I did. Okay. Yeah, I went with Derek Harmon from Oregon, the defensive tackle.
Very nice.
So basically where I'm at is gives you 320-pound defensive tackle who can do both of those things. He can play the run well, play two gap. He can also get after the passer. He had 4.5 sacks this year. So to me, if the Bengals go D line at 17, he's the pick that makes the most sense. Obviously, they can do a few different things with that first round pick. Safety makes a lot of sense. Linebacker makes a lot of sense. Offensive line makes a lot of sense. Edge makes a lot of sense. But to me, Harmon is kind of the guy who you get the most bang for the buck for at that spot.
And so many people have mocked Nolan to us over and over and over again in that first round. Harmon's just light years better than Nolan to you?
Well, he's bigger, for one. That, to me, is the big difference. You guys just talked about the ability to go play the run and play, give yourself a pass rusher on the interior. Not to say Nolan can't do both those things, but Harmon's a bigger option at that spot. So,
for
sure, I'm good with it. Jake, where'd you go with your first round pick?
All right, so my first round was a little bit crazy. I started out at 17, obviously. I had Malachi Stark sitting there at 17. I had Jahad Campbell starting there at 17. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came to me and said, Jake Tobin, listen, we're going to give you 19 and 53 for 17 and 81. No way I could turn that down, especially when a couple of my guys were still sitting there. So I made that trade. All right. So I took 19 and 53. And then the Minnesota Vikings called me up and said, Jake Tobin, listen, we got a deal for you. We're going to give you 24 and 97 and our 2026 second round pick for 19 and 119. I jumped all over it because, again, I felt like there was a great group of guys still there, at least 5 or 6 deep. I made that trade. So I picked at 24, and guess who was still sitting there at 24? My guy, Jahad Campbell. Again, first team all SEC, led Alabama in tackles, 117 total tackles. The guy can rush the passer. He can run defend. He can do it all. Again, Duke Tobin talked about that versatile guy. Jahad Campbell, I think, is the dog that the Bengals have missed since Vontaze Burfict and his whole situation. I'm very happy I got Jahad Campbell at 24, plus moved around the draft a little bit, got some higher picks in that top 100 that Mon loves, and got a 2026 second-round pick. But Jahad Campbell was my pick at 24, Mon.
Wow, sounds like a remake of that movie with Kevin Costner.
That's what it was.
Draft day.
It was draft day all over again. It was draft day all over
again.
Was that the first? Was that the first time? Because Jake doesn't normally do mock drafts, guys. Was that like the first go around you got that, or did you have to do it a couple times?
It was one of the first ones. Yeah, it was one of the first ones.
Yeah, Kevin Costner's coming at you. Sonny, what was his name? Sonny something.
Yeah.
All right,
Hey, Jennifer Gardner. Jennifer Gardner.
Hey, okay. Here's the deal. I wanted to come out of this draft. I want a pass rusher. Al Golden is a new defensive coordinator. Fresh ideas. He's going to change things up. The Bengals are known. They want prototype players. They have to be a certain size. That's going to change. They brought in Pierce for a visit, Mike Green, Jihad Campbell. These guys are 240, 245, 6'3 to 6'5, different kind of players. Well, Pierce and Green, I'm really down on. We know their baggage. They're great players. Their athletic scores high. I wanted Jihad Campbell. He was picked before my pick. My simulator, I didn't have that option. But somebody that I would have considered, even if Jihad Campbell was there, is the Boston College defensive end, Donovan Ezeruke. He's 6'2 and a half, almost 6'3, 245. His athletic score is good. He's not as athletic as those gentlemen, but he has 34-inch arms. I'm sorry. I mean, that's going to compensate for his lack of ideal height. The one thing I've read multiple databases on him, his football IQ is through the roof. He is extremely intelligent, 4'6", 40, good athlete, great first step, very productive. He's going to come in, be a situational pass rusher his first year. He's going to develop his game. I think he's 7 to 10 sacks his rookie season if he's a Bengal. And I'll tell you this. Our defensive backs are young. They're trying to figure things out. How do you help them? Rush the passer. If Trey Hendrickson comes back, which I hope he does, with their full complement of other players there. Miles Murphy put on a lot of weight. He looked good today in Cincinnati at that press conference. I think this gentleman is going to come in. He's going to help that pass rush. And to me, it'd be a surprise pick. But on the PFF big board, he's 17th. It's not a reach. He's a top 20 player. And he's rising on some draft boards. And he's somebody that I think if the Bengals pick, I think we'd be happy with.
All right. Mon, outside the box on that one. All right.
Yeah. Hey, it works. So in a fantasy football draft fashion, we're going to go snake. So Mon, why don't you go give us your second round synopsis here?
Okay. Well, I did consider a trade in the first round, but I just stuck with my board. I was happy with the prospects I had there. I had some good players available. Malachi Starks is available in the first round. A lot of good offensive linemen, Kelvin Banks, but I stuck and picked the defensive end from Boston College. Round 2, I did strike a deal with the Carolina Panthers. They took pick 49. I took pick 57. And also I received pick 111. So I got a 4th round pick moving back 8 spots. I ended up drafting somebody that our defensive coordinator is very familiar with, Benjamin Morrison, cornerback from Notre Dame. Very good player, elite cover skills. Season ended due to a hip injury, so he didn't get to finish the season. But Golden knows him well. You can never have enough defensive backs. And on the value chart, he's a 32nd rated player on PFF, and to get him at 57 is unbelievable value. He's a good football player. He's a very good football player. I think if he didn't have that injury, he could have been easily in the late, 20s to the 30 range. He could have been a first round pick. And for the Bengals to get him at 57, it's going to make this roster a lot better. He's BPA, and I jumped all over it.
Okay. All right, Mon going with the Al Golden guy.
Yeah.
Listen, not far-fetched. I will tell you, not far-fetched. It sounds like Al Golden is running the draft room when it comes to defense side of the ball. I was lucky, Eric. I set at 49. Again, I was looking to get some extra picks for us, but in the first round, it was really just swapping picks. So I didn't get to gain any picks. I was planning on trading out at 49, but guess who was sitting at 49? I don't think it's realistic, but you know what? I don't give a damn. Walter Nolan was sitting at 49, and of course, I did not even take a phone call on draft day. I ran to the podium and took Walter Nolan at 49. So Jihad Campbell at 24, Walter Nolan at 49. Both guys 21 years old. I have fixed the defense. Everybody is welcome in the first 2 picks of my draft. So Walter Nolan at 49.
I think that before you go to your second round pick, the breaking news here is that Jake learned how to use AI to create a deep fake that got Walter Nolan to fall to 49. Some kind of video is out there of Walter Nolan. Maybe he's
Got a
in a
wearing
You talk
a
about like
gas
a
mask or something.
something.
you talk about like a Jeremy Tunstall or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Jake learned how to use AI to create the best deep fake that the whole NFL world fell for, and he swooped in and took Walter Nolan. Breaking news. Go tell us about your second round pick.
That's right, Eric. That is right. I'm not done yet because that first round trade got me another second round pick at 53. And guess who was sitting there at 53, gentlemen? Our new starting right guard, Tate Ratledge. I scooped him up at 53. He was, again, some might call it a reach because he on most boards he's like 60, 61, but not for Jake Tobin. Nothing is out of the question. I took him at 53. So that's right, Bengal fans. Jahad Campbell, Walter Nolan, Tate Ratledge, my first 3 picks in this draft. You're welcome.
Well, you had to reach because you don't have another pick till 114. So, but kudos to you. You got at least one offensive guard, and we'll see where you went the rest of the draft. Justin, where did you go in the second round?
Okay, so I did trade back. I don't have all the details for all my trades, but I did go back to 53 to get some to grab some additional picks, and I went the same route as Mon. Actually, I was definitely looking at going with a corner. I was definitely looking at Morrison, but he came off the board before I picked. So I went with Trey Amos out of Ole Miss, 6'1", 195. I think he ran a 4.43, big time production in the SEC. I'm with Mon. I don't feel like we have a true number one corner right now. I think we have a lot of complementary pieces at that position. Coaching staff may feel differently, but I don't think the stats really showed that last year. So watching us get bombed all year season in the passing game. So I try to add some size and speed in the secondary. And I'm definitely in the camp that if there's a couple different ways this draft could go, but if they want to look corner, I think the board falls off sharply after about the top 10 at that corner position. So if they want to address it, they need to address it around there. And if not, then I think you don't address it at all. And my thing is either you go grab picks and address multiple positions, or more likely they don't and hang with like maybe 6, maybe grab a 7th pick. Then you go heavy on the lines and maybe linebacker or safety. But because I ended up getting 9 picks in this draft, I went corner and I went Amos out of Ole Miss with my second pick. 53.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, Mon talks trenches all day long, and then he gets to the mock draft and he picks anything but trenches. So, speaking of which, getting to my second round picks, I have the 49th and the 55th. I'll go into my third round too, since we're doing snake. We talked all off season long. I've been pounding the table saying, get some damn guards, fix this offensive line, give Joe Burrow 4 seconds, and let him cook. So with my second round picks at 49, I went Donovan Jackson, offensive guard, Ohio State, and at 55, I went Tate Ratledge from Georgia. We're gonna hang up the phone on all those free agents. We're gonna send some of the guys that we signed packing, and we're going to finally fix it right here for the next 4 years. This solidifies it. With my third round pick, I went to the other side of the ball, and I took TJ Sanders, defensive tackle out of South Carolina. So in the second round and the third round, I gave Mon what he wanted, got our trenches solidified, and we're good to go. Now we can go look at some of those nice fancy Corvettes in the 4th and 5th. Justin, where did you go in the third round?
All right, so with my pick at 81, I got Jared Wilson out of Georgia, most athletic interior offensive lineman in the draft.
I like that.
44, 40, 6'3", 310. Probably projects as a center, but may have some projectability to guard as well. I don't think you can go wrong with SEC talent on the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, trying to reinforce the interior of the offensive line. So, yep, Jared Wilson was my guy at, what was that, 81.
81.
All right.
Jake doesn't have a third round pick. So, Mon, where did you go in the third round?
Well, hang on. Let me just say, I did trade my third round pick. Let me just explain that. So, again, I had 97. Remember, I got 97 from the Vikings. I traded 97 and my 2026 seventh round pick to the New Orleans Saints for 112 and 131. So I picked up another pick finally. And then I took that 112. Listen, this is draft day. I took that 112. I traded to Carolina for 114, and I got 163 too. So yes, Mon, you go ahead and go, but I'm picking at 114.
Jake, I know for Bengals Pulse listeners, I know Jake's. It's really exciting. It's a lot of deals. I just don't think that Duke Tobin has that many prepaid minutes on his Nokia phone. I don't think he can make all those calls.
And that's why I should be doing his job. And that is why I should be doing his job.
Mon, where did you go in the third?
Draft day 2. Okay, in the third round.
Sonny Weaver, by
in
the
the
way.
third round. Yeah,
Yes,
was it Sonny Weaver? Okay.
Sonny Weaver.
Hey.
Very good, Justin.
Sonny Weaver. Okay. Yeah, Costner was won an Oscar for that one. Okay. I picked a tackle from Arizona, Jonah Salavanea. I don't know how to say his name properly. I think that's what it is. He's 6'4", 324. He's a tackle. I guess the draft guides that I'm reading and all the pundits are saying he's going to, swing in the guard. He's athletic. His athletic score is over 9. Had a good career at Arizona. He needs some work, but I think he could come in and hold down one of those guard spots. He's a third-round pick. Some people have him in the second. The Bengals did bring him in for an official top 30 visit, so they're very interested in him. And he's not like the current guards that we have now. He's bigger. He's 325, 330 compared to, depending on what publication you read. Our guards now are 305, 310 pounds. I don't know about the Cody Ford situation. He's obviously bigger than that. But he's versatile. He played tackle in college. He could go out and potentially be your swing tackle if something happens, give you 3 or 4 starts. But he's going to be our guard, and I think he'll be our guard for the future for many years. And I think he's going to be a good pro.
I like it. Finally, some trenches.
All right. Back to me.
I think it's back to. Well, that was the third. So, Mon, why don't you give us your 4th round pick, and then we'll go back to Jake.
Okay, thank you. I have 2 4th-round picks, by the way. 2, because remember my trade with the Panthers. I gave up pick 49, got pick 57 from the Panthers, and pick 111. So I'm back at the trenches now, but on the other side of the ball, I got a defensive tackle from from Oregon, Jeremy Caldwell. Real quick, let me pull his profile up here. 6'2", 332. His athletic score isn't the greatest thing. I know I've been really harping on that, but that's fine with me. We know what his job is going to be. His job is going to be to help stop the run. He's going to be a situational player. Him and Slayton and McKinley Jackson, they're going to be the guys that are going to come in and help stop the run and free up for our linebackers. What happened last year? We got hit with injuries. We had J2 Fele, Zach Carter starting many games, playing that run stopper, and it just did not work. It didn't work. We didn't have big bodies there. If we acquire him, he's 340 pounds, 335 pounds. Slayton is 340. McKinley Jackson's 330. The Bengals defensive line has gotten bigger. We need to improve the trenches. We need more size. And, he's a good player. He played big-time college football, and I think he's going to make the Bengals a better team.
All right. I like it.
Do you want me to go with my next 4th-round pick?
Yeah, both 4th round.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now this is one that's going to be a little controversial. It could be considered a reach. PFF has him rated 112. I got him at 119. All right. The one thing that I did read about him in one of the profiles, he last year It's a wide receiver from Colorado State, Torrey Horton. Last year, if we would have come out last year, he would have been a second-round pick. But he was injured this year. He's nicked up, so he didn't really get to play. He wasn't as productive as he was the year before. Apparently, he's been in 3 draft cycles. He's been scouted in 3 consecutive drafts, and he's finally coming out this year. So there's a little bit of draft fatigue with him. His athletic score is really good. He's 6'3", about 195 pounds. He can get a little bigger. He's not the fastest guy, but he's no slouch either. He's going to be our Puka Nacua in a way. Not as physical as him, but guys, I think wide receiver is a sneaky need, and I'll tell you this. We understand Chase and Higgins, elite players, easily top 5, 10 in the NFL. We're excited about Yoshi. We don't know what Burton is. Guys, Burton is one bad experience away from getting cut. All right. The other wide receiver we got from what's his name? I forgot.
Charlie
Jones. Yeah.
Chucky Sizzle, baby.
Yeah, Chucky Sizzle is a punt returner. He hasn't really performed. He's been nicked up. He was inactive 10 games last year. We need more bodies at that spot. We really do. And I think getting him in the 4th round is going to be a solid pickup. It is not a reach. PFN has had him as a 100th rated player. PFF has him at 112. Getting him there, he's been very productive in college. I think he could be a great addition to the Bengals wide receiver room.
All right. That's interesting. And I don't disagree with you, Mon, at all. I don't disagree with you. I think that room could thin out very quickly through training camp if Burton cannot get his stuff together. Yes.
His athletic score is 9.83.
Oh, you love that.
It is. I mean, he's an athletic guy, but his speed, it's like it takes a while to get fast. He's got these real lanky legs, but I think he would be a great addition to this team. And we do need more bodies in that room. If he gets nicked up or somebody, we're in trouble.
Works. Jake, you got a couple 4th round picks. Why don't you give them to us?
Okay, so my first one, again, I'm picking here at 114. I will tell you, this is where I wanted to go safety. There were some safeties on the board. Actually, BPA was the first 2 were safeties. Bowman from Oklahoma and Sanker from Virginia. However, I went down about 10 spots and took Jalen Reed, the safety from Penn State. Why? Because I've watched a lot of Jalen Reed, as I've explained in the past about Penn State and how my family's connected to Penn State. So watched Jalen Reed last 2 years, very productive safety, a bigger safety, 6 foot, 211, but is athletic enough to not only be a good cover guy, sideline to sideline guy, but is a great tackler. I want to ask Justin real quick. Justin, your thoughts with those 3 safeties. Bowman was sitting there, Sanker was sitting there, and Reed was just underneath them. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? Have you watched a lot of ball on Bowman and Sanker?
Yeah, Bowman's a little on the small side. Maybe I guess if I can make an NFL comparison, the Honey Badger from LSU. Who am I?
Oh, Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, Matthew. That might be kind of your NFL comparison. I've actually read a lot of stuff in the last several days about Sanker and how he's a guy who's kind of rising on boards, fairly athletic, but I guess a lot of teams really like his physicality and his instincts for the position. So he's a guy who might end up going a little higher than what we've seen in these mocks and where he's kind of ranked. So I would say out of those 3 names, Sanker's a guy that might really be intriguing. And a couple other safeties I like in these middle rounds, and I'll get to one of them when I make my picks for the 4th round. But Ransom out of Ohio State is another guy I really like too. So yeah, there's definitely some intriguing safeties who are probably looking in that third, fourth round range.
Right.
So if Cincinnati elects not to go with a Starks or an Eamon Worry from South Carolina in round 1, I think they'll have some good options in rounds 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was asking, because it does seem like that third, fourth round could be the sweet spot of some of those safeties that continue to kind of, that seems to be their range, and some talented guys. I think that's maybe something that the Bengals, like you said, if one of those guys doesn't go to the Bengals early, that third, fourth round could be a sweet spot. But I'm happy with Jalen Reed. I liked him a lot. Again, watching him play, good ball player there. So, guys, I also had pick 131 that I got from New Orleans, and I didn't know a lot about him until this past week when we had Jared and Sands on. But I went with Damian Martinez, a running back from Miami. Again, I think I really don't care about the Zach Moss situation. I don't think he is a long-term plan for this Bengals team. Damian Martinez, as he was explained to us, a bigger guy, 6 foot, about 220, 225, can run between the tackles. He's something that the Bengals really haven't had. Very productive in college, which I love, but not overran, so to speak. But yeah, so I went with Damian Martinez, running back from Miami, at 131. I thought the fourth round was a good sweet spot for that position, and I think it fills a need because I don't think Zach Moss fills that need, Justin.
Yeah, no, I like Martinez a lot. He actually is out of Miami, but played his first 2 years at Oregon State.
Yes.
He very consistent, 982 yards as a freshman, 1185 as a sophomore, and then 1,002 this past year at Miami. Like you said, only 3 years of college, so 514 carries. And, yeah, averaged 6.1 as a freshman, 6.1 as a sophomore, 6.3 as a junior. So very consistent production, but not, like you said, doesn't have a ton of wear and tear on the frame. So, yeah, that's a nice get. I would be a big fan of getting Martinez in there.
All right.
So, Justin, where did you go in the fourth round? You're up.
So, in addition to 119, I also got 131 from the Saints. So with 119, I went with the edge position. Got Tyler Barron out of Miami, 6'5", 260. I think 11 and a half sacks in his last 2 seasons between Tennessee and Miami. Very athletic. I think he ran in the low 4.6s. So definitely has some ability, some positional versatility. Could play a little bit outside linebacker, but probably more of an edge guy, and gives you decent size and length, but also some great athleticism at that position. I think that's a guy I've consistently seen there in round 4. That would be a really intriguing possibility to me to help address the issues for Cincinnati on the edge. And then at 131, I went with R.J. Mickens out of Clemson, another one of these middle round safeties, very athletic, very productive at Clemson. Let's see, he 6 foot 200, ran a 4.49, but also 41 and a half inch vertical. So very athletic for the position, decent size, and also gives you some pretty high level college production. So I think I've addressed most of our needs, and we're out of round 4. So
For sure.
happy with that.
So far, these are all home run drafts. Let's just keep going on them. So going with my fourth round pick, I went with the best player that was on the board at 119. All my
After
trade
the punter?
capital is gone. Shh, don't spoil it. I went with Rad Bobbins. No, at 119, I went with the best player on the board, which ended up being Jonas Sanker. We need a safety. We need to get better there. Hopefully, he can go out and make Geno Stone into Geno Pebbles, and we can go and just move on. So I'm happy with the pick. And then with my 5th-round pick, I really struggled with this because I didn't want to go down the thought path that Jake had gone down. But listening to the Lockdown guys today, they talked about this running back, and his contact balance was the thing that sold me. A lot of talk about how he gets hit by defenders, he doesn't fall down, he stays up, he keeps moving. Cam Scatabo wasn't here, so with that in mind, I went at 153 and drafted Damian Martinez. The only victory I have here is Jake got him at 131. We don't want to say the dreaded R word, but I got him at 153. So I'm happy that I got the same running back 20 picks after Jake did. So we end up with the same Zach Moss replacement. Justin, you got any 5th-round picks?
I do. A guy we've already talked about before in some of our mocks, went back to the offensive line and grabbed Luke Kandra out of Cincinnati. So,
there we go. There we go.
5th rounder, keeping him in the hometown. So, 2 interior offensive linemen. So, feeling pretty good about that.
So there's a lot of back and forth on that. Do you think he could challenge for either one of those starting positions?
Yeah, I hope so. I drafted him, so I sure hope he can.
Okay, so you drafted him to start, not to be a depth piece.
I drafted him to be in the mix, yes.
Okay. All right, he's got to go fight Folson and Ford and everybody else. Jake,
right.
You got about 6 5th-round picks. What do you got here, Mr.
I got two. Yes, I got 2 5th-round picks, and at 154, again, I got 154. Well, let me just say this. I had 153, and draft day part 2 happened again. The Giants called me up and said, hey, we want 153. We'll give you 154 and 219. I said, yes, I want 1 extra pick. So at 154, I went best player available. And again, I didn't know a lot about this guy until I obviously researched him a little bit. His name is Teddy Buchanan. He is a linebacker from Cal.
Super athletic, yes.
Super athletic. And let me say this, Justin. After looking at his production this year, very Logan Wilson-like. Really, truly. Moves like Logan, productive like Logan. 114 tackles this year for Cal. He was all at ACC, whatever, blah, blah, blah. 5 sacks. Again, this guy is all over the field. He started at UC Davis. He started at UC Davis. He played there for a couple years. Was very productive there as well until he moved to Cal. But I thought this was a good pick. Again, I just was like, I'm going to take best player available. But when I looked into it more, I think this is a guy that could compete for a roster spot on this team when you look at how athletic he is, how well he moves, how instinctive he is at the linebacker position. This guy is not bad, guys. He's really not. 6'2", 230. He's got a good frame on him. So, yeah, I was excited with that one. And, again, another guy in his young 20s. All of my guys, 21, 22 years old. So I was very happy with that. And then I had my next pick, and this is the one I want to really talk to you about, Justin, because I had 163. Okay, there were 2 guys sitting there. I wanted to get. I really haven't got an edge guy. Jihad Campbell, really, again, kind of that do-it-all type of player.
Hybrid. Yeah, it counts.
Yeah.
It counts.
So, I mean, technically I got an edge guy, but there were 2 guys sitting here, and I'm going to tell you who I picked. But the first one was Quay Robinson from Alabama.
Yep.
I did not like his size. I don't think he fits the Bengals. He's on the smaller size. So I went with Jared Ivey from Ole Miss. He's about 270, 275, 6'4", 6'5". Again, can play the run really well, can rush the passer. I don't know what you know about Jared Ivey and Quay Robinson, but did I make the right choice? What are your thoughts on Ivey and Robinson?
Well, I think you made the right choice based on the fact you got a pretty similar player to Robinson already in Campbell, but a better player.
Yes.
Yeah, Ivy wasn't super productive, but he did have. I mean, didn't have like off the charts production, but 7 sacks last year.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, he was a guy I saw in a lot of my mock drafts. In this kind of time, 4th, 5th round. He didn't test super well, so that's kind of the drawback. But you're talking about a guy who's 6'5", 6'6", over 270 pounds. So can be a strong side end who will play well against the run, but also give you production in the pass against the pass, rushing the quarterback. But is probably never going to wow you in terms of huge number sacks wise. But again, like we were talking about earlier, the ability to do both things, to hold up against the run, but also give you some ability to rush the passer. And and he's a bigger DN. So I personally like that pick a lot better than Robinson.
Good. Yeah, I like it too. I'm happy with it. I think in the 5th round, again, these are guys that could fight for Ross. This is a young defense. They're rebuilding this defense. These are all guys I think that can compete. Mom, what do you think? What was your 5th round pick?
My 5th round pick. Here's the deal. I have 2 picks left. My favorite picks are my 5th and 6th rounders, the last 2. The best value out of all. Compared to where they were ranked on PFF and where I got them, I'm very happy with it. In the 5th round, I picked Danny Stunsman, linebacker from Oklahoma. Really good athletic score. A thumper, almost 6'4", 240, super athletic. The odd thing is I've read 3 publications, 3 draft sites on him. It's a little bit of a liability in coverage. That's a work in progress, but that's odd due to his athleticism. But here's another thing that I loved reading about him. His football intelligence is off the charts. Remember, we had a guy named Vontaze Burfict that was that way. If you listen to Dan Hord's podcast this week with Marvin Lewis, he talked about how unbelievably Vontaze Burfict just knew where the play was going before. I mean, he was just so smart.
Yeah.
Well, all these draft publications say the same thing about Stutzman. He's very intelligent. And he's already a good athlete. He's 9'6" athletic score. I think he's going to come in and be a core special teamer. With that size, he's going to add athleticism and some physicality to that defense. I love that pick. Eric, do I have the next pick automatically if we're doing the snake?
Yep.
Okay. Can I talk about him a little bit? Stutzman?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, I like that pick a lot. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a downhill guy, a straight line guy, which I think is why his coverage ability is questioned. He's probably a little stiff in the hips in terms of why he can't give you that ability. But watching Oklahoma, he definitely has like a quality about him, a leadership quality, sort of ability to kind of get guys fired up, and he plays hard, and he is definitely limited in terms of the coverage ability, but he checks all the other boxes, and like you said, super athletic.
Justin, could he be a situational pass rusher with that athletic with his speed?
Yeah, I mean and Oklahoma used him as such. So yeah, I mean he's very athletic, and you definitely see it. He plays hard and he comes downhill in a hurry. I think that would probably be his best usage in terms of the next level as situational pass rusher, and you're not going to ask him to cover guys in the slot or anything, but as long as he's coming downhill, he is a big time player. And I think in round 5, that's a great get.
Yeah, and my next pick, the last pick of my draft, great value. I love this one. I think he was ranked 100 in PFF, and I got him at 193. And that's Miles Frazier, guard from LSU. Again, his athletic score is really high. I mean, is it realistic that he's going to be in the 6th round? I don't know. I've seen him all over draft boards. But if we could get him, this guy could potentially be in a couple years, be a starting guard for 4, 5, 6, 7 years for the Bengals. SEC football, like it or not, it's elite. Some of the best competition. He's very athletic, and he's a big guy. He's 325 pounds, 320 pounds. Justin, what do you know about him?
Not as much as the other LSU linemen, but I mean, yeah, they had a great offensive line this year. So, yeah.
I mean, it's 6th-round pick, and we addressed the trenches. We'll talk about it a little bit more when we do an overview. But I got 2 defensive linemen, 2 offensive linemen. That's what I wanted out of this draft, and I just love the value. I mean, there was only one player that is a mild reach in my draft board, but it is what it is. I'm very happy with my draft, and I'm done.
Yeah, well, your guard 6'5", 317, athletic score of 9.33, powerful and versatile interior offensive lineman. I mean, that's a great pick in the 6th. As long as they can get him out there and actually put him to work.
Stay away from the casinos. Stay away from the casinos.
Stay away from the casinos. Jake, tell us about your 16 6th-round picks.
It's
just make a comment about
one, and this is my last pick. This is my last pick of the night. I went again, best player available, and you guys will see once my draft pops up. I was like, listen, if the Bengals are going to get back to the Super Bowl, they have got to go the Eagles' way defensively. I drafted 5 of my 8 from the SEC. Again, I got 1 Alabama, 2 Georgia, 2 Ole Miss, all on the defensive side of the ball, except for Tate Ratledge, the guard from Georgia, obviously. So 4 defensive players from the SEC. Justin, you are welcome. It was tough. But I want you to tell me a little bit about this guy, Justin, because when you look at his size and physicality, you're wondering how this guy falls so far on these draft boards. I don't know a lot about him. He was one of the best players available. His name is Tyron Ingram Dawkins from Georgia. 6'5", 276. I think he's very Cam Sample-esque. They have him listed as defensive tackle, but they talked about he could go outside and set the edge as well, especially against the run. Again, not very productive at Georgia, but a big body guy who, again, is something that the Bengals look for when they look at that position. A very, like I said, a very Cam Sample-esque kind of guy that can move inside, outside, and really is more of a run defender. Do you know anything about my last pick, Ingram Dawkins?
Yeah. Well, I know Georgia's been very deep. He did have 3 sacks this year. So
yes. 3 sacks, not bad.
3 sacks, yeah. Limited action. Did play all 14 games, but some limited action. It looks like he also dropped some weight going into the combine. So
yeah, I read that. Yes.
Closer to 300 at Georgia, and it looked like he decided to try to. And that was probably something Georgia did with him, just as a need, like, hey, like we want you to play heavier. But looks like he decided on the approach to the combine to get down to 275. So yeah, I mean, look, Georgia. I'll say a lot of things about Georgia, but you can't argue that they aren't a factory in terms of producing guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball. The amount of talent they've churned out in recent years has been nothing short of an incredible run.
All right. So that's the end of my draft, guys. Again, defense heavy. Only 2 offensive guys and a running back and a guard. Everywhere else, defense. I have reconstructed Al Golden's defense for him. Al, you are welcome, my man. Justin.
All right. I had pick 184 as a part of my trade with the Saints. I really liked this guy in college, and I know Jake should probably be a big fan of this pick.
I am. I know who it is. I'm a very big fan.
In terms of, I know we were talking about bigger backs, and he doesn't really qualify as a bigger back, but he certainly plays like one, and that's R.J. Harvey out of UCF. was the value there at 184. I couldn't pass that up. He runs hard. He runs violently, which I always was very impressed with when I was watching those guys play. I big fan of his. He's a player. So dress the running back position there with Harvey, like that get, and also with 193, which was our 6th round pick, Jamon Dumas Johnson out of Kentucky, who originally was at Georgia, highly productive linebacker. Hopefully will kind of potentially fill the shoes of Jermaine Pratt. Not like a super uber athletic coverage guy, but really hard-nosed middle linebacker who will help reinforce the defense and give us another good option there. And I know his RAS score was in the 8s. He's not like a super freak athlete, but definitely not a slouch in that area either.
And
it's pretty solid. 8 is good.
Yeah. And let me say this about RJ Harvey really quick. And Eric, I'll let you go. RJ Harvey, again, I'm not comparing him to Ashton Genty, but when you look at the similarities of UCF had no offense at all. It was RJ Harvey. It was RJ Harvey in the run game. It was RJ Harvey in the pass game. He carried UCF's offense, carried them. They had no quarterback, no receiving core. I mean, RJ Harvey was the offense, and it was kind of like the Ashton Genty thing where teams put 8, 9 guys in the box, and they still could not stop him. He is a big-time yak guy, a big-time yards after contact. I love the RJ Harvey pick. Charge on. I love it.
Yeah. Well, the only I guess my only hesitation there when I went to make that pick is we were talking about a bigger back, and he's 5'8", 5'9", like 205, 207. So doesn't really give you that bigger back, but he, in terms of his ability, I think he plays bigger than his size.
He runs like it for sure.
He does, and yeah, I mean, looking at a running back there, to me, it made too much sense to go with him.
I love it. Great pick.
Eric, you done?
UCF guys. Yep. No, I got my last pick. So for my draft, I still feel I've knocked it out of the park. I've gotten our starting linebacker. I've got 2 offensive guards, plug and play, defensive tackle, safety, running back. So I looked at the board and everything that I've already filled all those needs, and I said, we really need an edge. And I went with the best player available on the board. This could sink my draft. I'm not sure. I'm going to go to Justin for really commenting on it. But I went with the best edge rusher. He was the best player on the board. At 193, I took Jared Ivey out of Ole Miss. Yeah. He was the 178th ranked player. My problem is his relative athletic score, I feel like, has to be wrong, or maybe Jake took the test for him, because he's rated at a 2.01. His write-up says that he's going to be a lot better than that. But tell me, is he? Did I boggle this, or did they boggle the testing?
Well, no, and that was Jake's fifth round pick.
It was, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's had 7 sacks at Ole Miss. Started his career at Georgia Tech. He's a guy that I also saw quite a bit there in the 5th and 6th round. But in terms of the production, definitely was much better than the combine type numbers. He ran in the low. I think he ran like a 5.08, which is what really hampered his RAS score. But 6'6", 270, 275. He's going to give you a bigger body at the DN position, and he did have really good production as a pass rusher. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great option if you're looking at 5th, 6th round in terms of getting a guy who was highly productive in the SEC and gives you a bigger option at the defensive end position and can play the run well too.
Awesome. Hey, I feel a little bit better about that. I think I could beat a two on the RAS score, though. I still think we should go do that testing. I think maybe we all could beat a 2.06. What do you think? I know Jake's probably going to say he's going to get a 9, but we all call BS.
I'd say an 8. I'd say an 8. 8.5.
Newt Rockney has a 3.7, and he died like 40 years ago.
Died like 100 years ago.
Did he? Oh, did he? Okay. As a joke about Newt Rockney, I'm joking. Again, I know I
if you're
said this
still
before.
if they're still listening
sorry.
to us at the 1 hour and 5 minutes in, throw out the Newt Rockney insults to Mon and let us know that you're
If
offended.
anybody here is related to Mr. Rockney, I apologize. Again, Ole Miss is probably going to have 10 players drafted in this draft. I mean, that's impressive for that university. I know they had a successful season, but man, when you produce that many NFL caliber players, you should be playing for natties, man. I mean, it's pretty
I'm about to
impressive.
say not successful enough. I mean, when you look at the talent coming, I agree with you, Mon. You look at this talent from Ole Miss. How the hell were they not playing for a national championship? Is just beyond me. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
Eric, are you going to post? Are you going to post them?
First down, possibly.
No, you're right.
So-
I mean, they have crap me out almost. They have a lot. Justin, you would know
Well,
more. You watch SEC more than us.
Yeah, well, just they collapsed in critical moments. That's for sure. They should have been in the playoff, and the fact they didn't make it was definitely a surprise. But they really went all in on the portal, and sometimes that pays off, and sometimes it doesn't. That's how it goes. I did have one more pick in the 7th round, 254. Patrick Jenkins, defensive tackle out of Tulane. He's like 6'1", 285, more of a pass rusher, kind of a flyer pick there. Wasn't a whole lot at the end, but tried to give us another pass rushing option on the interior there at the end of the draft.
Very nice. Lottery ticket. Nice.
One name.
Everybody else threw away their 7th round picks, and Justin went and got them.
One name that, and only because I have, because he's a Florida guy, interesting name I'm seeing towards 6th, 7th round, maybe a priority free agent. So just want to mention him because I think it's more likely the Bengals, if they do look to corner, that's probably where they're going to look, is Jason Marshall out of Florida. Then I just want to throw this name out there because he tested extremely well. He was a very, very highly rated. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, had an inconsistent run at Florida, but was having a really nice senior season until he got hurt against, I believe it was Georgia. So he missed the final 6 games. But he was putting together a nice senior season. I think had he been able to play the whole season, he'd probably have been maybe more of a 4th, 5th, 6th rounder. But yeah, he's a guy I think will be a really intriguing possibility there as either like a late round flyer or a high priority UDFA. You're talking about a guy who's 6'1", almost 200, and tested extremely well at Florida's pro day. So
Marco Wilson kind of athlete.
Yeah, but bigger, and I think he's a better corner, better cover guy than Marco has shown to be. So
because Marco is a great athlete. I mean, I remember that was a big thing. He's a super athlete.
It's kind of wild to me because Marco has all the tools, and I mean, his dad is a DB coach. I mean, he actually trains players before the combine, like in the
Gets him ready, huh?
Yeah, gets him ready for the combine and the draft process. So the fact that he seems to sort of lack something, some sort of instinct or something, it's kind of strange that there's that disconnect because he has kind of the coaching there. I mean, his dad is like it's really interesting to watch him like break down. He does a lot of stuff on social media where he's like breaking down like where defensive backs go wrong on plays and stuff. And then to sort of back that up, he's an incredible athlete. So there's kind of that disconnect that he doesn't put it together on the field is sort of strange to me. But
maybe
he just doesn't have the opportunity. Time and time again, Lou proved that you weren't going to get an opportunity out there. He wasn't going to give it. He wasn't going to give these young guys a chance to really F up. So maybe he can do it. It's just if you don't show it in practice. Some of these guys, the light that turns on during a game, and they don't have it in practice. And if you don't have it in practice, Lou wasn't going to play you. So
what was the injury, Justin? Because you said you participated in the pro day. So what was the injury?
I think it was a shoulder. Let me double check that.
Okay.
I think it was a shoulder injury. Let me see if I can come.
I mean, somebody like that you're mentioning that has all those intangibles and all that. I could see a team throwing a 6-7 round pick on him because.
Yeah, I definitely think he becomes a season-ending labrum injury midway through the 2024 season. 4'4", 40, 6 foot, 194, 37.5-inch vertical, 10.5 broad jump.
I got a labrum issue, and I'm still working. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mon's got advanced genetics, though.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on him. Definitely going to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, he's a guy who'll probably come to play after round 6, but yeah, especially considering how it's 7 games. So yeah, I think it was the Georgia game he got hurt. With the way the corner board sort of falls off there after about top 12, top 13. Yeah, he's a guy I think will be a factor either late in the draft or it'll be a highly regarded, highly pursued UDFA for sure.
Yeah.
Eric, are you going to post all of our finals, or are you going to put those up?
So do you want me to throw them on the screen now? It might take a little while to go through them all. Otherwise, I've thought after the show we would put them on Twitter, put them on X, and put a poll for the listeners to chime in to see who got it right, who got it wrong, whose draft we loved. Did Kevin Costner win an Emmy for this? Is it an Emmy? What do they win? I don't know.
No,
Oscar?
I mean
It's an Oscar.
That we could just do that. So, guys, they all got our picks. If you want to, rockets going off, guys. Elon or somebody. Is it Blue Origin who's launching?
No,
SpaceX is going
I
on.
wouldn't be here if you're launching. That's Elon. For those that think that the rockets don't actually launch, they at least go up. We hear them. They interrupt our lives. They interrupt our podcasts. So they definitely launch.
Right now. Okay, so Eric, you're going to post them after.
I'll
post them, right? Okay.
I'll post them on X after the show. Before we get out of here, because we're an hour and 12 minutes in, let's talk a little bit of what's going to go on with draft night. We've got obviously 2 to 3 days now. Jake, CJ, that's where
I hear it now. My house is right on me. Yes.
I live closest to it. Jake, Mon lives a little bit farther away. I'm not sure how far Justin is away, but Jake's definitely 20 minutes away. So it's the speed of sound is real.
All right.
Anyway,
so you're 6.
So we're going to have on draft night, we're going to have a big Cincinnati roundtable. Ace and Zim, we're going to join them on the show and talk all things draft. Probably going to be on your YouTube feed for a good 3, 4, 5 hours. We're going to just celebrate. We're going to talk about how Ashton Genty's going to fall to us, or Warren. We're gonna sit there and put money on how bad Jake's going to crash out when we sit there at 17th and we draft a fullback. Maybe that'll happen. Offensive lineman. Or it'd be even worse if we go with the third best offensive lineman when we're sitting there at 17. There's all these scenarios that Jake's going to crash out for. But we're going to be there for you live. And we'll be there a little bit before, a little bit after, maybe the whole time, depending on how many people join us. It's going to be fun. This is our Christmas in April. Been waiting for it. So, you guys got any thoughts on that? You excited?
No, excited. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Justin, thank you so much, man, for putting all the time in during draft season with us. We really appreciate it. Again, man, thank you for jumping on tonight and joining us these last couple months and talking draft with us, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thursday night at my house, fellas. Thursday night. Justin, you'll be here.
Thursday night at the Abel Hassan Ranch. It should be a great time.
On the TV in foam.
I'm not cooking hamburgers. I'm buying pizza. Okay, I'm buying pizza.
What? You said you were grilling.
I was at work until 5.
Burgers and what?
We're having Wagyu steak.
Yeah. On my salary, it's going to be like friggin' 50-year-old dairy cattle.
I thought you got that 30 ribeyes for $20 out in Mims.
Shiitake mushroom. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually
about that big, but it takes them 13 seconds. It's like bologna with a bone in it. It's steak.
Crystal burgers, man. We're gonna have crystal burgers. All right, guys. Well, that is another edition of the Bengals Pulse. As always, guys, if you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you check us out on all the awesome podcast platforms. Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. Make sure you give us that 5-star review. We'd very much appreciate that. Make sure you follow Mon on Twitter at the FireMon. Follow me on Twitter at Coach Jake Owens 9. Follow Eric on Twitter at eFlash with 2 H's 88. Follow the Cincinnati Podcast Network on Twitter at Cincinnati Pod. And as always, guys, follow the Bengals Pulse on Twitter at Bengals_Pulse9. The same on Instagram without the at Bengals_Pulse9. And make sure you follow our good buddy Justin Wells on Twitter at Justin L. Wells. Once again, Justin, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's always a pleasure having you on. I know you're going to be there on draft night too, so we will see you on Thursday night. Bengal fans, 3 days away. 3 days away. Make sure you go on, comment on our drafts, and obviously vote for Coach Jake Owens-Stein.
Mine is the best.
When this drops, it'll be 2 days away.
That's right. When it drops, it'll be 2 days away. All right, guys.
Eric, Canadian Football League draft for Eric. Canadian Football League.
Hey, I got your offensive guard. I got your defensive tackle. You're gonna love my draft, Mon.
Justin, tell him Canadian football. That's a Saskatchewan draft.
We're gonna run. We're gonna control the clock. We're gonna pound it home. We're gonna do everything that we need.
Eric, be careful with that statement. Be careful.
Hey,
I got it. I can enunciate.
Hey, Jake, tell Jennifer Garner hello. Okay.
I will let her know. That's good. That was good how you came all the way back around to that. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Hooday, Bengal fans. We will see you guys Thursday night for the 2025 draft. Hooday.